Hello, I'm Frank Morano. You're watching Liquid Lunch on NEWSMAX TV. Everybody in the world is talking about impeachment, but what we haven't heard a lot about is the communication surrounding impeachment. Well, how are the Democrats handling it? How are the Republicans handling it? Here to tell us is one of the world's foremost experts, and I mean that quite literally, on both politics and communications, author, columnist, NEWSMAX contributor, and radio talk show host, Tom Basile. Tom, it's so good to see you again.
It's great to be here.
And
congratulations. Before you start, my old friend, congratulations on your wedding. God bless you.
Thank you.
And to Mrs. Morano, wherever Mrs. Morano is, good luck. All right. So,
trust me, she's heard you yell at me on the telephone on a couple of political matters on quite a few occasions. And you know what her response always is? I don't know who that guy is, but I'm sure he's right. Tom, let's talk about impeachment.
Sure.
How do you think the Senate Republicans are handling this? We saw on one of the other networks, and if you could stick around, we'll play the video of it in a little bit. Senator Ron Johnson getting into a shouting match on with one of the anchors about impeachment. We've also seen the Democrats in the House, especially, slowly go from we don't want to impeach this guy to only 3 of us want to impeach him. So now pretty much everybody wants to impeach him. Tell me how you think the communications are going and what the political ramifications will be.
well, first, let's start with the Republicans.
Yeah.
Because Mitch McConnell, at first, seemed like he was a little bit wishy-washy. We really weren't sure what the Republicans were saying, if they had any kind of, the majority, all right, the leadership had any kind of real message coming out of this. And look, I think they've realized that they're going to take a huge risk of being in the minority for a generation if, absent some sort of smoking gun, they look like they are aiding and abetting what's going on over in the House on the Democratic side. You know, there are 22 Republican senators up for re-election next year, and conventional wisdom says that between 7 or 8 of them are in a vulnerable situation. Now look, if it doesn't look like the Republican majority and the leadership, people like Mitch McConnell, have the president's back, you're going to see a blowback from pro-Trump voters. Now, what does that mean? That means that people are going to come out to vote for the president, but they won't vote for their Republican member of the Senate. And again, that could be the difference between being in the minority and being in the majority. So you did see that today Mitch McConnell put out a very clear message. It was a fundraising video, and he says we have the president's back.
He says they're the backstop against impeachment.
Exactly. So I think that on the Senate side, with the exception of people like Cory Gardner and Mitt Romney and Susan Collins, who can continue to play footsie with the Democrats on this thing, again, absent any real evidence of any criminal behavior or anything that could lead to a conviction in the Senate, it seems that McConnell's on message.
So let's talk about what the Democrats are not doing while we have 3 committees, count them 3, issuing subpoenas to various White House offices. There must be no other real problems in the country that need solving. The fact that the entire work of the House of Representatives can halt to just focus on impeaching a president that we now know probably won't be removed from office.
Yeah, where do you start, right? There are so many challenges that we're facing as a country. The Democratic Party has literally abdicated all of their responsibility to address any of those issues. And because they've been focusing on trying to delegitimize and destroy Trump and his administration. So this is a real opportunity for Republicans, it's a real opportunity for the President of the United States to actually govern and talk about things that people care about, like prescription drug prices, like health care, like immigration policy and immigration reform, like urban violence. You know, a lot of these Democrats, they claim to care about the plight of the urban poor. Well, thousands of people are being killed in the streets in our major cities, and you see nothing coming out of the Democratic Congress. I mean, this is supposed to be an issue that's supposed to be their bread and butter. They're not even talking about that. So this is a real opportunity for Republicans and for the president to continue to govern during this time period.
Let me ask you to put on your political hat rather than your media analyst hat. Yeah. What's the best strategy to reach out to the voter in 2020 in both the congressional elections and the presidential elections that voted for Obama twice and then voted for Trump because they wanted a change? These aren't people that you'd consider doctrinaire conservatives. They're not reliable Republican voters. They're people that are more of the throw the bums out, I'm an independent variety.
Yeah.
How does President Trump tap back into that coalition?
Well, first, I think that so far his strategy is scream and swear at people on Twitter all day. And there has to be...
Is that going to be effective?
I think it's effective at talking to the base. I don't think it's effective at talking to independent voters and suburban swing voters in swing states. It's just, I don't think that it is. I think that it contributes to a likability gap. So again, I think that the most important thing that the president can do is be his administration to continue to talk about the successes of this administration. The president has done stuff on prescription drug coverage, for instance, to bring down prices for prescription drugs. Do you know about that? You know, most voters probably don't know that this administration is doing that. So you have to focus on the things that the American people care about, not these investigations.
Tom, I want to thank you for joining us. Check out his column on NEWSMAX.com. We're going to link to it at Liquid Lunch TV on Twitter. You'll see more of Tom Basile on the show in the future. You're watching Liquid Lunch TV. When we come back, you'll meet Ms. Wright.